I felt it important that I address what's going on in the systems of the world, particularly in the United States, with regards to changes in how services are provided for children and families of those who are not speaking well yet, those who are late talking, those who are using alternative forms of communication, those who are not successful in traditional classrooms, those who are addicted to tech, those kids who are needing extra help in the school system. There's going to be a lot of changes to how that help is going to be delivered in the future. There's a lot that we don't know, but there is also a lot that's going on that's freaking people out. It was probably the number one topic of conversation through my whole travel, in addition to how do I work with my own kid, to what's going on in the systems of the world. It's something that I've been following for a while. And with all of the changes that are going on right now, it's important that I felt this quick bit of information that you can understand about what is happening now and what to be on the lookout for, because we don't know how it's going to look yet, but we do know some things about what's happening. And the first thing is, it's this DEI initiative that is already signed into executive order that is being eliminated. I had to take a look at the information about this initiative, and the initiative is to rid the system of illegal and discriminatory programs. And in my definition, those are programs that the system determines that they offer information and equity, because that's what it is: inclusion, equity, diversity, for ideas that are contrary to the ideals of the officials who will be overseeing them. So people who have a stake in race, culture, social, financial, these aspects of your world, those are going to be taken out of the education system, to the point where there is a website that is talking about how to report teachers who are including race, culture, individualism, diversity in their teaching. So that is the DEI initiative. Now, for those of you that are in special education with plans right now that are serving your child, there are still some federal laws in place that are designed to protect education for all children in the United States. Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, the ESA, and then the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. These were signed into law in the 60s and 70s, and these laws still protect that services are available, need to be available to all children who show the evidence of disability. And so remember, DEI is going away. IDEA is still there. And in fact, when I looked at the special education initiative, how is special education responding to potentially the U.S. Department of Education going away? There is information there specifically to train, and this was published in January of 2025, the US's initiatives to both save money and serve these children under IDEA. So remember, already the funding for, and this is, remember, all about funding. Remember the DOGE, the current initiatives to limit government is about money saving. And so the Department of Education, already, it's been said in the initiatives that the United States is the highest cost per student and the lowest ranked worldwide. So the initiatives that are being presented by the government, I know that this was meant to be about workbook, but I promise I'll get to that. I just felt like I had to talk about this too. So sorry about that. I probably should change the video title, or I'll put up a short with just this specific information. But yeah, so again, DEI is going, IDEA is staying, but the funding for IDEA is going. So what you need to understand is that while you might have a plan in place for the services or accommodations or whatever that your child needs that makes them a unique learner in their free and appropriate education in the least restrictive environment for them, the initiatives that are coming from the government are cost saving issues, which will limit the access of funding, severely limit the access of funding for individualized programs. What it says here, and what I've done is sort of paraphrased it to say that already we know that they've cut money to states to fund IDEA programs for special ed and low income needs. Because remember, IDEA is about access. These laws that I just talked about are there to guarantee access of information, education for all students, no matter what their educational or socioeconomic needs are. And the funding that's already been cut are things that are for like feeding kids in schools, and because those would sort of venture into that diversity and cultural social support versus educational need, right? Remember already some of the IDEA funding has been cut, and special ed and low income / social service needs are in the same pot for IDEA, and that money's already been cut. So number two is that, and they're trying to send all this back to the states. So in this initiative from January 25 that was published, the training states to use inclusion programs at the state and local level. They value inclusion, meaning that as many children as possible should be learning in the same classroom. And so in the same environment, because that saves money. You see, we don't have to have separate teachers or kids or programs or whatever if we can put as many children into the same program as possible. So it could be that this is why we will see an uptick of autism classrooms, because all the children that now have been diagnosed with autism will be put into the same program so that they can be learning with peers. It won't be in general education because they will have been determined to be severe special needs, have these needs determined, but the money is not going to be there for them to get anything individualized. They're going to just put them all in the same programs. They're probably going to be tech related programs too, considering what's going on. It's a lot cheaper to put a bunch of kids on tablets than it is to have individual teachers. And then you'll see how the schools will get a report card to receive money. So there'll be data collected, which is another reason I'm thinking things are going to be moving to tech, because they'll be collecting data on the performance of the children. And there's no easier way to collect data than with a tech device. So that's probably what's going to be happening. And then if they don't do well, if the students aren't doing well or better than previous years, then the states won't get as much money, which is kind of counterintuitive. But they're going to have to prove that they are doing something to help students do better with no money from IDEA to get more money from the government, which means that the poor and low income and considerable social needs areas of our country will continue to fail on these report cards and get poor money. And then, like I said, they'll be serving as many children in the same curriculum as possible to save that money. So that's the plan for the government that is going to be happening. And so what I am doing in response to that is try to equip and empower you, because you don't know what kind of support is going to be available. You don't know what kind of schools are going to be available, if any, for your child. There won't be the staff that are there to respond to your child's individual needs as much as there will be programs for kids like your child. You'll be categorized into boxes a lot more already. It's starting to happen. You can comment if you like about what's going on in your area of the world. I just am really feeling that the the idea of depending on the system to help you with your child, no matter how severe or mild their disability is categorized to be, the help that you are currently depending on is not going to be available. And so you're going to need to have some tools to use for yourself. And the main tool that I created just for this situation, because I knew it was going to be happening years ago, is my workbook. And so here it is, the 11-week journey. And the link to get it is in the description. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about this little challenge that I've got going on to help you restart your journey, because my mission in life is to equip and empower as many parents as possible to help your children who are not speaking well yet share their wisdom with the world. And even while I was in Australia, I met a few people whose children are super challenged, super, they're older than 5, 6, 7 years old. They're not using spoken language at all. They're using letter boards or other methods to communicate, echolalia, things like that. And even in those children who are not using spoken language yet, I know there will be a time that they will be able to transition into spoken language because they have important information to share with us in the world. And now is the time, with these systems being literally, many people are going to feel like the rug's pulled out from under them with the lack of support, which is what our education social system is meant to do for parents and children who struggle to have the resources that other parents and children have to access education and knowledge and all of those things. Now it's sort of everyone has what you have access on your phone at these days. And so what you're looking at now and what I hope to teach you is a way to get yourself so firmly planted in your language facilitation journey that you doesn't matter what's going on outside, you're consistently facilitating improvement in your child's functional skills, the skills they need for life today and for the next 2 to 5 years, right? This is where you as a parent have the opportunity to help your child. And this workbook was created for this purpose. And I'm here to support you as you work through the process that has been proven and used by parents all over the world to figure this out. Parents who already decided to leave the system, parents who already decided because the system let them down. Already the rug was pulled out. They were not getting what they hoped for, dreamed for, depended on, and suddenly they became aware of their own reality and situation and need to do this themselves. And I want as many parents as possible to also come into that reality and stay there and not be distracted by all of these initiatives and funding stuff and concerns about, is there going to be help available? Just assume that at this stage you have to be the boss of your child's future development over the next few years, because whether you're in a great school or not, things are going to be changing for you.